Hey guys, I'm Abby, and welcome back to One Code Camp channel. Today, we are going to talk about more modern JavaScript, specifically spread and rest operator. Let's go! Previously, we have used the three dots, which were introduced as spread and rest operator. But what exactly are spread and rest operators, and how can we use them? Here, we saw that we can use the three dots in the structuring arrays and objects. Now we will talk more about them and we'll make use of our sandbox.html file wherein we can connect our new JS file for our new topic, which will be spread and rest operators. By the way, unlike in our previous video, I made use of our live server here and will show you where we can output our codes. Right click on our browser, click Inspect, and click Console. Now we can start. So again, what is this three dots? Is this spread? Is it rest? It's both. But what does that mean? These three dots can do many things. Let's see what they are using examples. Let's say we have a variable nums, which is an array of values 1, 2, and 3. Let's log into our console using their indices. Console.log nums 0, and we'll get 1. And if we do that again, use 1 and 2, we will get 1, 2, and 3. Okay, we already know this, and this is inefficient. We took care of that in the previous video using destructuring. Now let's have a new variable, new nums, and let's say that its value is the same as nums array. So if we console.log nums 1, 2, 3, console.log new nums, we got the same output, right? So why does it matter if they are the same? Well, we can get all of those numbers in the nums array, make a copy of it, and add more values, and nums will not be affected. Okay, 4, 5, and 6. And you will see all of those numbers, including the numbers in the nums array, is in our new nums array. You might ask why we need the three dots. If nums is 1, 2, 3, shouldn't we say nums without the three dots? The answer is no. If we take that out, it will still have that array, but it will be a nested array, or an array within our new array. That means that we successfully spread out the values in nums array and put them in the new nums array without it being nested when we are making use of our three dots. Now, let's do an example for objects. Back in our destructuring file, we have the person2 with nickname, year, gender, and person object with first name, last name, and age. Now, let's use some of that in our new topics example. Let's say we have a person object, and let's put in first name of Doe. Oops, that should be John. Edit that out. Okay, and last name of Doe. and age of 25. And down here, let's have an updated info object. Const updated info. Now, let's take all of that in the person object and put that inside the updated info. And now, we want to add in a new key value pair, nickname JD. Let's log person. Okay, we'll have all of the details. Age, first name, and last name. This will be alphabetically arranged. All right, and we have our updated info. All right, now the nickname has been added. And again, just like in our array example, it will not put all of those things in the same object if we don't use the 3 dots. We need it so that it will not be nested. Using the 3 dots, it will be spread out and add the new info at the same time. Okay, so there you go. It is inside in only one object. Okay, it also works if, for example, you want to add in new nested objects for things like address with a lot of smaller details inside of them, like house number. Put in house num 0, 1, 2, 3. And then what else? Street, maybe. Okay, let's use street. Oops, this should be 1, 2, 3, and 4. And city, New York. Now, since it is really a nested object, it will look like this in our console. Okay, the person will have a nested object, which is the address. So we can add that as well inside our updated info. Okay. You have to go to the person first, then dot address. Right? And it will look the same except for that nickname that we have added in. But if we want to add in a new field in the address and we want to avoid the nesting inside a nest, what we can do is say enclose the person. Okay, let's put that in address and enclose the dot 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 person dot address inside that address and add in a new key value pair or whatever info that we want to add in. That's country, USA. Okay, and if we look at that, we have USA inside of our address already. Okay, so it works just fine. So it is the same, but with the added info as well. Okay, there you go. Now, notice the difference when we say dot 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 person dot address. Okay, the key value pair inside our nested object was also spread out outside the address. Like this one. It is different from our person log, right? Hey, but let's revert it back. And I hope by now you notice our keyword spread out. And you guessed it correctly. This works as the spread operator. Okay, let's move on to the next. And let's comment this out so it will not be too crowded. Okay, and the next one is our rest operator. Still, 3 dots. But let's see how we can use it. Let's say we have a function. Let's call it sum. And put in 3 parameters, A, B, and C. We want to, well, add those numbers when we call that function. So return A plus B plus C. Let's log a few numbers here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. It logs it out perfectly. But what if we call our sum function and use those same numbers? It gives us the sum of 6. But why is that? 1 plus 2 plus 3, 4, 5, 6 is clearly not only 6, right? So what is happening? No matter how many numbers we have inside of here, since we only have 3 parameters, it will only get the first 3 arguments that it will see, which is 1, 2, and 3. 4, 5, and 6 will be ignored. Now, let's comment this out and create a new function. Rest, or maybe rest func. Right. And let's put dot 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 args in here. Now it doesn't have to be named args. You can name it anything like apple, maple, nums, whatever we want. But one of the most common is args. Okay, let's use console.log inside and put in args, which is what's inside our parameter, right? Okay, then let's call the rest func and put in some arguments there. Just some random strings here. Apple, maple, able, marble. Now we were able to output all of it bundled or grouped in an array. It is now working as a rest operator, which is the opposite of the spread operator. Now, if we put in 3 dots inside the console.log, now that we have bundled up the arguments in an array, it will now work the opposite way and pull it out individually, which is now working as a spread operator. JavaScript is smart like that. It adjusts on what we need it for. So let's have more examples. Let's say we have more parameters here, x, y, and change args to z here as well. And now that we have more parameters using spread or rest in both of our z's, we pulled out able and marble. If we take out the three dots, it will be grouped in an array. Now let's also log x. Oops, this is a wrong syntax. Let me edit that one out. And let's log y as well. There you go. We got x, apple, and y, maple. And z is grouped in one array. So with that knowledge, let's use it with our numbers example or our sum function. As a refresher, if we have two parameters, we only need two arguments. But what if we want to have more numbers? Or maybe we have the same numbers, but it's inside an array. So let's have that as an example. Let R be an array of two numbers, 1 and 2. And let's try putting that R variable as an argument, since they have the same numbers, right? So let's see what will happen. Okay, it gave us 1, 2, undefined. Now it doesn't know what to do with that info. Okay, now here is where we can make use of our three dots for us to treat each element in the array as individual numbers. Now it will successfully give us 3, and it is smartly identifying that it should use it as a spread operator. Now to our next scenario. If we want more numbers, or if we have a lot of numbers and we are unsure how many numbers we are expecting, what can we do? Right, so let's have a function sum2. Let's put in a parameter here. It can be anything, nums, args. Let's use nums. Okay, and inside, let's log this to our console. And since we don't know how many numbers we are expecting, we can assume that this will be more than 1, which will be an array of numbers. So let's put those 3 dots in there. Now what? Okay, let's actually replace this with a more complex code other than return and console.log. Let's have a variable sum and set it to an initial value of 0. Then let's use a for of loop. So we'll have an iterator, and let's call it num, then the object to loop through, which is our nums. So we want the sum of sum plus whatever the number we are accepting, and set it as the new value of sum. And once that's all done, we want to return the sum. Okay, let's try that out with our two numbers. And we have the same result. But if there are more numbers coming in, we will successfully get the sum of all of those numbers, no matter how many they are, because we are taking them as individual numbers. So that, my friends, are spread and rest operators. I hope you learned a lot, and we'll see you guys again in our next videos.